Hey everybody, what's up? February 6th. We're going to be going through Exodus 16, 17, 18, and 19 and really looking at leadership. Well, people and leadership from a biblical perspective. Yes, this is Moses on management coming at you right now. Okay, so the people of Israel are into the wilderness, completely delivered from the hand of Pharaoh and the Egyptians. Now what? What do we do now? Chill and watch Netflix? No, you know what? There's some training that needs to be done because they have been steeped in the ways of the Egyptians for so long. And now God is going to create them into a particular people, one for himself, but they've got to learn a few things. Well, the first thing they got to learn is to depend on God. I know, crazy, right? Faith, whole walking by faith thing, having to depend on God, yeah, that's exactly it. Israelites, when everything went wrong, okay, whenever anything went wrong in the wilderness, if the waters were bitter or now they're hungry, they go to Moses and their complaint is incredible. And as a leader, one of the things you just hate the most is to have people complain about what you do. Now, as a spiritual leader, okay, your job is always to point people back to God or back to Jesus. The whole wilderness, I think, is one of these trial and testing grounds for the children of Israel to become more dependent upon God and less dependent upon their leadership. Yeah, leadership's there for a reason, to lead you to God, right? Now, one of the things that we notice here are the children of Israel are hungry. So they bring their complaint towards Moses. And it's not like, excuse me, Moses, we're a little bit hungry. Do you got any crackers or, you know, some food, please? It's like, Moses, what the heck, man? You've brought us out here to die. Like, we're gonna die. Like, literally, I'm just about ready to die on you right now. I'm starving to death. What's wrong with you, Moses? What's wrong with you? You didn't think of this? There's like 1 million people out here, and we're all hungry. Like, what, are we gonna start eating each other? Like, poor Moses. Moses is like, look, man, don't look to me like, do I look like I got a whole, like, you know, field, a crop full of food behind? I don't have, I mean, you're looking to the wrong guy for provision. You need to look to the Lord. So the Lord's got this whole idea planned out. He's going to send what is called manna down from heaven, and his plan is that 6 days that stuff's going to fall into the ground early in the morning, and on the 7th day they're going to rest and not going to be able to pick it up, but on the 6th day they're going to get double, right? And this is kind of a test. Are they going to be obedient to this commandment? Sounds pretty easy, you know. Moses gives them the deal. They got the deal. This stuff starts to fall, and they're like, what is this stuff? It's this small little stuff. It's like, looks almost like frost, I think. I don't know, like a coriander seed. I don't even know what a coriander seed is. Anyway, it tastes like wafers and honey. That doesn't sound so bad to me. Mind you, you can get sick of anything over a period of time. There's a little comment in my Bible here that they ate it for 40 years. I don't know. One of the main lessons on leadership is this. If you're a spiritual leader of any kind, your job is to point people to trust in God and not you. That's really important. You need to develop a culture whereby you are pointing people continually to God and not to yourself. If your ministry is all about you and you're not pointing people to Jesus, you're not pointing people to trust in Him, and so you're like, just take what I say for granted and follow everything I do. No, you follow me as I follow God. I'm going to encourage you to follow God. That's the #1 thing right there. So the other thing too is, like, collect some of this manna, because this is really important. This is going to go down in history. I want you to collect a jar of it pretty much, and we'll set that aside for you to remember. Now the next thing, we've got our hunger thing satisfied, which is absolutely mind-blowing, like miraculous. Like, when does it ever snow food around here? I wish it snowed food. There's a lot of snow around, but it's not, well, I guess you can eat it, but don't eat the yellow stuff. But water, we're thirsty. Oh my goodness, we're gonna dry up here like a piece of popcorn. It's like the desert out here, Moses, and you haven't even thought at all to give us any water, you know. And again, I guess I haven't really quite learned just yet, and this is always gonna be the issue with these guys. They keep blaming Moses when it's not Moses' fault. So they're complaining to the wrong person right off the bat. But in their complaint to Moses, they're also complaining towards God. You should come to God in prayer, in a place of adoration and asking and thanksgiving. But you could ask. It's okay. Come and ask. But don't, like, start there. Don't start in, like, you know, you are such a bad person, such a bad God, such a horrible, you know, whatever, because you have not given me what I want. That's a bad attitude. Don't have that attitude. You know, come to God and, like, you know, Lord, please give us this day our daily bread. Funny how that works. So yeah, water. We need water. So they come to Moses and they're like, we're shriveling up and dying here like a couple California raisins. We need some water real bad. So Moses comes again before the Lord and he's like, they're at it again. The Lord says, that's okay, I got a solution for that. Take that rod that you smote the river with, or the ocean, or whatever, the Red Sea with. You know when it parted, won't turn into a snake. Take that and hit a rock. I'll show you where. And it'll pour forth water. So there you go, and he spoke to the children of Israel, and bam, hits this rock and outpours water. Bingo. So we have water and we've got food. Fortunately, the children of Israel haven't quite learned their lesson just yet. And will they ever? Hard to say. Don't worry about your life, what you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, right? Okay, don't be like that. Just trust me for it. Look at the birds. Look at the lilies. Look. They're not taken care of. They're taken care of. Okay? I'm going to take care of you the same way. War. Okay, so inevitably, war is going to break out. Enemy comes, Amalekites come. And they want to make war with Israel. This is one of many that are going to happen in Israel's history. Now what do? You know what you got to do is you got to find some warriors, so you go in and get some warriors. But they found out something really interesting here. And this is highlighted through this whole passage too, is when they went to battle and Moses stood up there with his hands raised, kind of in a worship type position, kind of in a begging God position, you know, like, God, bring it, you know, and his hands are up there. I mean, it doesn't take long for your hands to be up here, for your arms and your shoulders to get really, really super duper tired. Just try it for like 5 minutes. See if you can hold it for 5 minutes. But you can't hold it for 5 minutes. If you can hold it for more than 5 minutes, comment below. So he's got his hands up there, and he noticed that whenever his hands are up there, the children of Israel prevailed against the Amalekites. But when his hands came down, that's when the Amalekites began to, what? Prevail against Israel. So what's up with that? We'll touch on that just in a second. But I'll tell you something else. Aaron and Hur came alongside Moses, and each one of them, you know, first they gave him a rock, I think, to sit on. So he's sitting down, at least he's not standing up and his arms are up, right? And then they come along each side and they both take an arm and they help support Moses through this whole conflict, so his hands can remain raised. And as they are raised, the children of Israel win. There's a lot of lessons, I think, that are in that. One, in the ministry, any kind of spiritual leadership, you're going to need people around you that will help you continue to worship and stay fixed upon the power and the strength of God. People around to support you, man. You're going to get tired. You're going to get weak. You need people to help pull some of that weight and to hold some of that burden. Those are what those guys do. I think it's also a posture of worship. Do whatever you possibly can. If you're not the main person in ministry, but you have people around you. I'm talking to the people like Aaron and like Hur. Could be elders in the ministry. Could be people who are right involved with ministry partners. Do whatever you possibly can to serve the leader that God has brought your way in holding up their hands however you can. Right? Might be taking on some extra burden. Might be taking on some extra responsibility. But we know this, even from the New Testament. When the apostles were in this situation where there was widows that needed food, I mean, ministering too, yes, absolutely, right? They need ministering too, but should the apostles give up the teaching of the word and prayer to go and to wait on tables? No, they shouldn't. Not that waiting on tables is not important, but it's the teaching and the ministry of prayer and the ministry of the word that are incredibly important for these individuals' callings. So choose out from you some godly men and I guess they're deacons, so women too, so they can go and help out with this kind of thing. And that's what helps them stay dedicated to the teaching of the word and prayer. I'm telling you, I've seen ministries where the pastor is allowed to do this with all the energy that he has. And what he brings on a Sunday morning is absolutely incredible. It's from the Lord. It's like that manna from heaven, right? It's incredibly encouraging because he's had the time and he's had the strength to focus in on the Lord. If not, I've also seen ministries where things are put together haphazard and you get some table scraps, basically. It's not as ever good as when you have people around you who can support your ministry. Anyway, they win the battle because of help. Next lesson in ministry from Moses is actually Moses' father-in-law. Yes, good advice can actually come from your in-laws. Most of the time. Jethro comes with Moses' wife and his kids because they've been kind of hanging out with Pops, I guess. Now they're in the wilderness of Sinai. And it's time to reconnect with the family. So he does, and he comes there and he realizes that Moses has been kind of like the main guy who's seeing and judging over all the people all the time. And he's like, dude, you're gonna get worn out by this. You can't be the main guy all the time. I'm gonna give you some advice. Yeah. I'm gonna give you some advice, man, and you should follow it like it's the Word of God, because this is gonna save your life. What you need to do is you need to search out amongst yourselves some very capable, God-fearing individuals, ones that aren't given to covetousness. It sounds a lot like the New Testament description for elders or deacons. Take these individuals, set some over thousands, set some over hundreds, set some over 50s, and set some over 10s. Now here's the idea. If there's an issue that comes up and it's small, then it could be settled through that leadership circle. The big issues will work their way naturally up towards you, and then you can sit here and you can judge those big issues. Telling you, man, you'd be wise to follow that. You know, a lot of my ministry has just been kind of like me. But I've come to notice and be aware recently of the importance of a team that takes on a lot of different responsibilities. I don't have to be the great kahuna, okay? I don't have to be the big kahuna. I really don't. Although I'm big, I don't even know what a kahuna is. Sounds Hawaiian. I don't have to be the guy that always rules on everything. I would prefer it if other people were empowered to go and to make the call and to deal with people at that other level. Yeah, let it trickle up to me. That's fine. I have no problem passing things up the ladder either. But it's about empowerment for the effectiveness of the ministry. Now, you can take that idea and you can go all over the map with it, but it's really important. This is a corporate structure coming to how Israel is to be managed. It's so wise. I mean, we see it all the time in business, right? That structural kind of a thing. Yeah, that's a biblical idea. Who would have thought? It's actually brilliant. But for those of you who are in ministry, the one thing you got to do is train up leaders who have the same heart, the same vision, but pick them wisely, and that is really important. Don't just get some... There's some people that should be in that position, there's some people that aren't. If they're not fearing God, and if they're greedy as heck, and they're prone to gossip, don't even think about it. Those are the ones that need ministering too. They're incapable as of yet to be ministers of. You know what I'm saying? So be wise in how you pick them. The last thing to come is this idea that Moses is the spokesperson for God. And he's going to frequently start going up onto the mountain of Sinai and meeting with God, and God's going to come down in a thick cloud and fire, and it's going to be terrifying. And what I think God is doing here is he's sanctifying, he set it apart Moses in the eyes of Israel. This is the leader. You don't mess with him. He goes in and he talks with God. And he's going to come down and he's going to give a word for everybody else. He's to go up to the mountain and nobody else is to come on up. Nobody else is to even touch the mountain. If they do, they can get stoned or shot with an arrow. And later on, you know, people are wanting to go up, maybe the priests are wanting to go up, and Moses has to come down and say, don't even try to come up here. If you do, the Lord will break out on you. Yikes. So, this is all setting the stage for the 10 Commandments. But this is God putting the fear of God into the people. And hopefully, building up Moses to be in a place that will be of respect in the eyes of the people also. Anyway, it's terrifying. It's a terrifying thing to approach the true and living God uninvited. Now, what's the Lord saying through all this? I mean, there's tons. There is tons. I have to go look at what the Lord's saying to my heart. And it's a good reminder of how to manage and lead well. First of all, my relationship with Jesus has to be good. All right? Second of all, I need to always be looking around me for people who are of like mind, who are mature in the faith, and those people I should look to giving responsibility to, and they'll manage in like ways. That's really important. I'm also not the big kahuna, but I am one who sees the value in supporting others who are in ministry to do their job and to stay focused on the Lord. So I'm looking for opportunities now to see how I can lift the hands of the people who are in spiritual leadership around me, like my head pastor, right? Or the elders. You know, this has been another wonderful time, rich in wisdom, rich in content, but one more thing, don't complain about your circumstances. Don't complain to the pastor if bad things are going on in your life. Of course, that doesn't make any sense. That's just a reminder not to do that, because that just doesn't make any sense. Always remember that you can take your request to God. Come to Him and come to Him, lay your cares before Him, because He cares for you. That's enough. That's a lot for today. That's enough for today. I love you. Jesus loves you. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.